الحضور الكريم أهلا وسهلا بكم في تاني جلسات
All ladies and gentlemen, you are welcome for the well, you're welcome for the an insight into the Global Knowledge Index, pre-university education sector, and we are very proud that Dr. Najwa holds a PhD holder in education, faculty, humanities and social sciences, universities of Tunisia. She is at the head of assessments and educational project research until the of education, cognitions, technology, and didactic virtual University of Tunisia. She is also a member of International Society of the University. Dr. Najwa, she's going to present about the an insight, and she is going to present an insight into the Global Knowledge Index pre-university education sector. You welcome, Najwa. You can start. In the name of Allah, thank you very much for this Mohammed bin Rashid Global International Summit, Knowledge Summit. We are very thankful to you all, and that's which indicates and links to the improvements and the developments and to improve all the in sectors in Arab region. So thank you very much. I'm going just to tell, and before I want to brief about these index and indications, and about those indications, about the international indications. We are going to just to focus on some international, to focus on the international indications about the knowledge. Here, this is a briefing about the global index for the knowledge, and this is which focus on the education, and I'm going to brief that this index has been built on or based on. What exactly the general constructions or the general instructions for this indication, for this index for the pre-university studies, and what exactly explain and what exactly indicates about the, excuse me, I want just to give a briefing about this index. And 2019 that we have, and the knowledge, the Arab Knowledge Index, it was just focused on, it was existed, and it was a vital report, and that links to the vital reports to instill, to identify the challenges of the knowledge in the Arab region. Today, we realize that the international policy that empower the competition in the whole world, and this is imposed the necessities, the research about the tools that empower the countries and focus on the knowledge, and to invest this knowledge in order to have a sustainable improvement, sustainable development. So, and in these circumstances, in the Arab knowledge that proved that the relation between the knowledge and the investment, and the knowledge, and that we have a narrow interpretation between the pre-education and the knowledge. so that achieve a fair consequences, fair. Actually, we can't develop any things only we have to have such tools in order to base on and to base on those tools in order to go forwards. And we have to focus on the point, the gaps that we have to focus on those gaps, to analyze it in order to avoid it and to improve and to go forwards for sustainable improvements in order to have the specific trends. And this index aims to empower the sustainable growth, sustainable development, in order to have a bright future and to have a wide knowledge of these on the region here. This index came or appeared the opportunity for the whole countries in order to have a specific performance, to have a great performance in order to have a successful investment, to have a successful development, to have a successful knowledge in order to, and we should have also a specific approach in order to improve our plans in order to go forward the best improvement. And the international now, the international region, the international zone that happened, what happened, that these index appeared on these indexes, that the International Bank had a very vital role in order to empower the international economics in the whole world. That there was a gap, to try to share the international efforts in order to avoid the collapse, economical collapse. This index have some aspects like education, university education, that research, the higher education, the economics, and all those aspects, additional to those aspects, and we have to focus on. We have added, which occupies a vital role, is it has to work not far away from these aspects, and therefore this represents, this is constructive index that focus on those sectors. We have a very great efforts to build those index and how to interact and integrate those aspects, not independently, but it has to be integrated together. And we have, and those, when those sectors are integrated, then we can go forward in order to improve and to have a brighter futures for our students. And then we are sure that this index, it draws a good plan, a clear plan to the dynamic portrait for whole countries. The knowledge index is, it's a subjective, and it's subjective in order to have a great approach. It has to have a great approach in order to have or to adopt or to adapt the international standards in order to have that we have to get safe standards and safe criteria in order to base on and to depend on those basic in order to achieve the objective that we are having for this knowledge index. And we have some so 70%, and that indicates that the internal and the team got, and we have a structural knowledge here, that we are having here a group of sectors. For example, we have some axes here, some axes for the global knowledge or the global knowledge. For example, the pre-university represents 15%, and this is important from a very certain resources, and that's also adapted with the international criteria, international standards, and this is then we are and required from practical experimental, and we reached to the final. At the end, we had the index of 133 changeable, and they covered, the country covered 136 and 131 the countries in 2017, and 134 countries in 2018. All the vital indexes, or the vital indications that link to the international. Now we come to the pre-university study that we have all university stages, school stages, and we mean by the pre-university study all the stages before the university and the university stages, and this is a very vital stage. It could be considered as a very vital stage, and this is the initial stages of learning or the university studies. Stopped. And indexes achieve and focus and highlight on many prospects, many educational prospects. And this is also created a vision, thinking approach, and focus and highlights on the man has to, to lead a leadership in order to be adapted with the international changes, and focus on and the changes on the humanitarian changes as well. And it could be motivated, it could be pushed, and it could be some studies and researches must contain the educational approach, and this won't be achieved only when we build appropriate educational environments. And we do have also some index before the pre-university study, and about the motivation, that we have a lack of motivation, that we have to encourage and to motivate the factors of this education. And then we talk about an axis, for example, that we have to talk about when we rebuild the system in appropriate way in order to build and construct the educational approach for those students, for those people who care about the students, about the university study, then we can build a very bright future. Then we have to count, we have to have a statistical numbers that when we are going to have some statistical numbers for the graduates from the university, and then how to discover then the number, then the numbers, the digital number, the countries will change those digital number in order to build a sustainable investment and improvement and development. And the international also, the international society also, we must not neglect the vital, we should not neglect the vital role of the international society or community in order to have their opinion, in order to build a very appropriate and fixed educational constructions in any country. Then the report, the reports from the Arab region, then the reports from the Arab region here, indicates that they are inappropriate in their strategical plan. And then about that links to achieve this indication that there is analysis, study analysis, that we have a fruitful from this indication. We could comment about for the pre-university, we had from the international criteria, we have adopted some of the some international criteria that empower our, in order to, that we will have ability to have different and approved and improved indexes once again. So about the and how to make acceptable comparison, and we have also care about our previous analysis. We have a previous indexes, and we discussed them perfectly, and we also had a very useful results from previous indexes. So and we also discussed a lot about this index with and we had some abroad international experts and experience in order to improve our indexes here, and no one can do this subject operation only when we have to adopt the international experts or experience. The index here focus on the human, the knowledge, the capital knowledge that's focused on, and we have also the pre-university study and about the educational empowerment environment. Then we have chosen this without anything else. Also, we had about the capital. We have some other branches. We have some other changes. Why we have focused on the capital of knowledge, the knowledge capital? Why we consider? Because the human or the man is the main capital, is the main investment. Because to empower this man and to change him to have to have an effective and vital role in his society, we have to focus on the man himself. We have to focus on the human themselves. And about other consequences, also we have to focus on the consequences. The man is the man, the human is very important. How to empower the knowledge. It's very important to have opportunity for the children education, for the youth education, to improve the schools, and it has to, the learning, the education must be available and provided for everybody in the society. And we have also to adopt any strategical education. We have to adopt, we have to get any, to learn or to have sustainable strategical education. But is this enough? But no, we have to work hard. We have to work hard in order to build a constructive education. We have to reassure that those stages and that these establishments that is doing a very good efforts and very hard work in order to have a very excellent educational approach for everybody in the society and to complete. But they have to complete all the school stages. They have to build all school stages and in order to have appropriate knowledge. And the problem is here, we have the consequences of the index in the Arab majority, that, and the consequences of the Arab region reports, it was a obstacle that it was not perfectly succeeded. But now these days we are talking about the quality of education. We have what the children, what a child, the student learn. We have to know what are the specific education that those students get from the school, from the educational sector. This is the efficiency of the staff, of the educational staff was not working well. We have to focus on the quality of education. And this is also based on some researches and based on some statistical surveys. And we have to be assured that the quality of learning is achieving. We have to, here we have to have the final structural table. For the first one is here for the educational environment that we should have a very appropriate educational environment. It's required here. We should have it's, and because of the internet is not available for every. And we have our three axes. We have it here, the investigative education and the early childhood and the school environment. Those are three main axes. We have also to focus on the three axes. We are having a problem with we have also a problem with the consequences of this index, of this axe. It has we have that the rates of the educational staff is not enough, and this is based on some surveys. And we can talk we should also talk about educational environment, that we have to empower the educational empowerment and the school empowerments in order to pay more, to cost, to pay more, to make more projects for the educational. This is also very important about the early childhood programs, and we can't also neglect the childhood stage, early stage learning. We can't neglect it because it's a basic stage, and that we have to depend on it, and it plays very important vital role in that. And we also want to talk about the school environment and the learning, the education for the kids, for the children, as very necessary, very important, and that's provide educational platform for the children, which links to the fruits of, or the benefits of education, and that very necessary. That's why we have started for this index, and which provide more educational opportunities for more people, for more kids, for more children, that we have to work hard to provide educational opportunities, and we have to know that when the number of students grow up, so we have also to improve, to develop the educational staff performance. This is the structure. This is the structure which was more rich than the other board, which was focused on other data, and we have also a model of index that which was links to the actual practice for the educational, and we had also, and the administration of the schools, and the administration and the management of the school environment, all those links to each other in order to build a very appropriate and powerful basics and ground for the educational approach. And in general, we can say that the pre-university study is that those changes as very, very important in order to have it and to consider it in order to, and we have also additional that empower the fact, the reality that build a very powerful background for the educational approach. And we hope that this is additional to and the quality for those who are interested in the pre-university study. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, and ready for some other questions. Any question, anyone who wants to write a question, please, who can. The first question is, what are the educational strategies that empower the educational environment? What are the your strategic plan in order to empower the educational environment? Actually, Anna, let me read the question, please.
طبعا هذا سؤال هذا ليس سؤالا تقنيا طبعا، هذا سؤال.
Actually, this is a technical question. Actually, this links to the heart of the educational approach. The educational system, when we talk about Arabic educational system, that we have only just some countries, very few countries had a very great educational development. The GCC countries reach to the peak for their educational approach, and this is, we have to say that the logo that we have to believe that the education must be for all. And we have also priorities for, we have logistic, we have also to have a logistic aids, logistic help for the educational approach, the strategic plan for in order to improve the educational system that we have also to pay more money, to get more aids, to get more tools. We have to spend more. We should have a great expenditure in order to have appropriate education, in order to reassure that this environment is perfect for to provide the education and to have the good quality, and so the staff of education must also deal and must be very professional to deal with the change, the international changes. They have to be very well prepared in order to be well prepared to push the educational approach. Another question here about the education. The surveys indicates some changes, and quantity of changes. Sometimes the countries, some countries, they don't have the ability to show the numbers, the real number. They don't have the data, they don't have the ability to show the data of the education, the error or the failure of their educational system. This is a very important question. And this question also, and this is also, this question has been asked for the committee who supervised the educational system. And you know, the data, or to show the data is represent the data, or to show the data represent the weak points of many countries. They can't show the real number of failure or any problem with their educational system. So this also needs a time, needs experts, needs many surveys, many statistical board in order to focus on the Arab region. So, and the potentialities of the Arab countries, also there is a lack of the professional educational staff, and this needs more and more time in order to reach to the international community professionalism. And we can't have, when we have an international index, that we have a lack of, we are having the same tool, we are having the same system, and how to work, to go through the same educational approach in order to the international index depends on a real number, on a real surveys, on a real surveys and consequences. That we also in Arab countries, we should go on a real, we should go on a real numbers and real, we should trust ourselves here. It's a kind of, it's a narrow, it's a poor study. It's a kind of poor study. It's a poor study in order to base on the real numbers. In your opinion, another question, and about the circumstances and the coronavirus and this unprecedented time, how can we, do you think this time will affect the education and how to gain the skills of the children by the virtual program, or do you think it will move away? Do you think this period will be affected by pandemic, by corona pandemic, the system? And in fact, this is a question. We are not in, we are having abnormal circumstances that we can achieve. I think we have to move smoothly to the period. We have to move smoothly to the time. We have to adapt, and we have to be adapted with the circumstances. Smoothly, we have to go through these. But the virtual program, the virtual learning, and in the time of the corona pandemic, that more countries, and I think all the countries, all the world, all the countries and all over the world have been surprised and shocked about this, and they were not well prepared in order to have distance learning or virtual program. They have been surprised, and unfortunately, this change was not expected, but it didn't achieve the specific the targets, or achieve the targets and achieve objectives. No, it has not. No, frankly to say that this educational stage has not been achieved well, because all the world has been shocked and unexpected period. And when I was a real teacher, face-to-face teacher, for example, I face my student face-to-face, it was better. But we have we have a massive turn to the virtual communication. We have a massive turn to the virtual communication. Everybody, the child, the teacher, the administration, the school environment has been completely changed. And because the school has its own legislation, has its own rules, they have, and also they have a change in the thinking. Their thinking has also been changed, and this will have a very vital impact. It will have an impact on the education system, and we don't want to talk about the psychological consequences about this period, about the teacher, about the student. All those factors will have an impact on the educational system, and in order to return back to the real education, to the classroom, for example, this is also, it will have also another environment, it will have another thing. So, and we had before a distance learning opportunity, but we didn't go through this approach because we didn't need it. But when we have shocked and when we have faced corona pandemic, then we will have to change to the virtual communication and distance learning. When we talk about empowerment of, when we empower the child, it's when we want to get the child in order to get involved to the industrial revolution, then we should have positive consequences in order to get the children or the students to be involved to the industrial revolution and to have the digital learning and digital, and we are educating the child for different time. We are educating our kids in order to be involved in another world, so, and to empower the child in order to deal with the digital revolution and how to deal with this time smoothly. And we have another question. Do you think this current situation, this time, do you think is useful for the? Actually, we should not go back. To the previous. We should also have useful. But we should also invest this time in order to improve our technological. We should develop our digital, our technology in order to be very well adapted to the future prospects. In order to then how to instill the educational prospects in order to have a bright future. We have also to instill, to implant, to invest this time in order to get our students to be very appropriate. Hopefully that we are going to eradicate this disease, and we are going on this massive turn in order to, in this period, in order to invest those changes, it has to be useful for the coming future. And then suddenly the child changed the digital to the technological age, to the virtual communication. This is suddenly changed. So also it was a very critical experience for the educational staff, for the teachers, for the administration of schools. It was a very critical period. It was a massive change to them. All these things will have impact. We should invest that also. But we should not go back to the previous. We should invest this in order to provide more opportunities to the technological aids and technological approach. Then that we have, I think we neglect the food style and education style. It has a lack. It was reduced for the children, and I think this index, so this indicates and about the health factors. Also, the health factor has to be taken under consideration, and we have to build. We should also build. We should analyze. We should also, many surveys come and they didn't focus on this health style or health criteria. This also has to focus, has to concentrate on the students' style and how to motivate the index in order to be a very objective, and we should not neglect the health. And the health is, and the International Health Organization focus on this index in order to have an appropriate child with a good food, healthy food, and we should, and there is another index and about the sustainable developments of health. We have also to focus on that. The index must focus on the child health, and we should not build on. We should not have other surveys. And about we should also the health domain. Also, the health domain also have many challenges, and that have an impact on our students, and how, and in the Arab region also. And I think you can contact, you have our contact directly, and we will ensure, we will provide many information about the health, the child's health during the virtual communication, and about the pre-primary learning. How can we focus on the pre-primary education? About the index here, when we take a decision, the index here, it's a valuable, and it's a valuable quantity. It's an alarm. It's a red point that there is a problem. It's a red point, a red spot that we have a problem in this in this sector, in this aspect. We should also provide some tools we use to help us in order to avoid any health problems. Any country wants to develop their education, any country wants, they must diagnose their educational system. They must identify their educational system and to stand on the weak gaps of this educational system. They must be very honest with themselves. If this index, if this education, and when we have problems, very good information that we have to focus on the gaps in the educational system. We should also be very honest with ourselves in order to get some specific numbers of these surveys, very specific, how to create those children, how to make those children to pass the whole educational stages in a smooth way, Why should, and we should also eradicate any challenges. We have to eliminate any obstacles we have. We should have the tools to eliminate the challenges and the difficulties that those kids and those students will face during the educational stages. So, and then how to, this is very, it's not a simple way. It's not a simple way. We have to have a great consequences. We have to great analysis. We have to specify the gaps in the educational system. We should learn, we should read, we should look, we should concentrate. There is another question here. Do you think the factors for the knowledge do you think our in 2015 knowledge is integrated? The Arabic knowledge index, do you think is integrated with the international index, knowledge index? This is, it's an international. We can't, we choose the criteria is international criteria. The standards are the international standard. The table, the template is the same. It's the same wherever we go, wherever we move. It's an international template, so that it has to be changed according or referring to the international changes. It has to be changed. But the criteria is common between the Arab region's criteria and the international criteria. And because we are having, we should also, when we don't have, if we can't have any international criteria, we have to make alternative criteria for that in order to go through, in order to have a future prospect. We should have a future prospect. We should also have a strategic development investment. And we should implement the index of 2019. Also, we have difference. We are trying to be updated. We are having to be developed. We should also have a future prospect. We should also adapt with the international changes. We should be adapted with the international changes. There is about the UAE here. There is a question about the UAE and the space knowledge, the space education. How can the other Arab countries get the opportunity to have an opportunity, same as the Emirates, because they are having a space education? Yes, the UAE works hard to reach to the internationalism, and also they have a very excellent improvements. We can't talk about the benefits if there is no cooperation between the Arab countries. Then we can't talk about the development. We should, and the UAE is in the front now. We should work hard. The country should work hard in order to reach to the peak that UAE reached to. So we have an example here. Before 2 years back, about, and when we have some, we had some late studies, and that, and sorry, and before 2 weeks to Poland that had some problem with their educational system. Then they formed a community, they formed a committee in order to stand, in order to find out the gaps for the educational, in order to, so they focus on the gaps that in the educational system, and this is what on the Arabic level, on the Arab levels, we don't know up to which point we are going to reach in the knowledge summit here, as we are having now. We have also must have channels we should have bots, we should cooperate with each other. Without cooperation, we come to reach to the beat. Thank you very much. And thank you for the, and about Iraq also, we should also be in Iraq, how to deal with the data of the index, how to build the index, and how to differentiate between the rich and the poor countries in this aspect, and how can we input those statistical numbers. If there is any question, please contact us about social communications, and you can communicate with us. You can contact us and Mohammed bin Rashid, His Highness Mohammed Rashid. We are very thankful to you all. Thank you very much for this presentation, and we should have more approaches. We should have more indexes and more approaches. Thank you very much. Thank you, Dr. Najwa. And we are going to hope to meet once again on Wednesday at 1 to 2. Then thank you very much. Thank you very much. We meet once again. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for your attention as well.